Today, what we're looking at is a video game becoming a movie. Another one that's actually happening, which I think is really interesting, really cool, and to be honest with you, when you hear what this movie or this book is about, this game is about, it really sounds like it could be a great movie and possibly a movie series. Let's just see how the first one goes. So as you can see on the screen here, there's a Russian sci-fi thriller novel turned video game, Metro 2033. So if you've played that, then it's becoming a movie. Just so you're very well aware. So let's get into the actual article here. We'll move through very quickly. Before THQ's Metro 2033 was a first-person shooter, it was a novel written by Dmitry Glukovsky. Now, I hope I've said his name correct there, so apologies if I haven't. About a nation of people forced to build a new underground civilization in subway stations and tunnels after a devastating nuclear war. Now it's set to become a live-action film courtesy of Gazprom Media. Variety reports that after years of being approached to adapt the story for the big screen, Glukovsky ultimately felt that Gazprom was the right outfit to produce a film. Even though no director, writer, or cast has been announced, he's confident that this telling will do his original vision justice. And before we actually get into the quote, to be honest with you, I really hope that he actually stays true to the vision of the book, the story, and maybe even bring in the elements of the game. I'm not sure how true that stays to the story and to the novel, but it sounds like, and this is to me, it sounds like it could actually be a really, really good movie idea. It sounds pretty sick. The idea that people have to rebuild on the subway stations just sounds, after nuclear war, again, just sounds like, I mean, it's probably one of those things that's been done before, but it sounds like it has the potential to be great. And yes, I've said it sounds like multiple times. Please don't hate me. Anyways, I mean, I understand why he's going with Gazprom Media. I don't know what they've done. I haven't heard anything about them before. But I understand why he's trying to stay with this sort of... I would assume they're a fairly small company. I haven't really heard them do anything. But I get it, right? He wants them to do, if it's... What I'm thinking is he wants them to stay true to the vision of his story, which is great, because, you know, we see a lot of the times when bigger companies have this access to these kinds of films and they want to just reach a wider audience, which I think is stupid. If you're going to sacrifice the vision of the film, they tend to make it more family friendly, or PG-13, which is what happened with Terminator. The whole series essentially started as an R rating. Then I think it was MA, which here in Australia, I don't know, it could be something different over there. And then it's gone down to PG-13, which is just not good enough for a Terminator franchise. But you know, that's what happens if big companies get a hold of a great film franchise. It's really sad to see that this is the potential thing that could happen to any movie, any series, and any company. It's kind of scary, but it happens, especially when they get big and they just want to keep getting a greater and greater audience. So look, I can understand Glukovsky wanting to actually honor the vision of his story, the original novel. So it makes sense to me why he would choose a company like Gazprom Media. Now, the question of the video that actually I ask for you guys today is, how much do you think that the original vision of a novel or a book or a comic, how much does that matter to you when you're looking at watching a film? Do you want it to stay the same? Do you want it to be different? Do you want them to add their own elements as a film company to the movie, or do you just want it to stay true to the actual film? That's what I'm curious to know. And let's actually look at what Glukovsky says now. Let's just double check his quote here. He says, "In Russia, I didn't see any producers who could make a good screen adaptation of this book. It just seemed impossible. But now I finally met a team that I can trust Metro with. Our ambitions turned out to be similar: to create a world-class blockbuster and stun even those who have read the trilogy and know it by heart. So as not to disappoint them, I am ready to become a creative producer of the movie to help create it with both my advice and action." And this, I think, is great. I'm honestly... I really just hope that the movie respects the vision that he has for the movie, and that the company doesn't try and take over everything that's going on, right? Is that going to be something that we're going to see, or are they going to make changes to the movie just so that people who've read the book or have played the game, they're going to still be interested in, right? Because if you've played the game, and I'm not sure how much of the story it actually follows, but if you've played the game, then maybe you've already seen the movie essentially, but you're a part of the movie, so I don't know how that would work. But I'm really hoping that, I mean, it sounds, like I've said, like a pretty damn good movie idea, or the novel sounds like it was selling crazy. Now, the thing is, I'm just wondering if they'll have to concede to like the bigger company, the Gazprom, for different stuff. Like, what's going to happen there? He also says that he wants to make a blockbuster movie, and I think that's great, right? But I've got this feeling that they pitched the same thing to like Dwayne the Rock Johnson when they were telling him that they're going to make a Doom movie, right? And we saw how that became a really blockbuster. Anyways, maybe they didn't. They did that to the entire cast of Mortal Kombat. There's another movie that could have been really a serious blockbuster, right? They could have told the whole cast, "We want this movie to be a blockbuster. We want you guys to be, the forefront, and it's going to be amazing." And then it's really just a guilty pleasure movie. So look, that's my concern. If you're trying really hard to make the movie a blockbuster movie, you might actually miss out on some of the integrity that the story itself has, and some of just that immerses you into the whole thing, just because you want to make it a blockbuster. And sometimes people think of making blockbusters as just having explosions and action, but we want character development and stuff like that. So I'm really that would be my biggest concern, okay, is that they're going to change this, as opposed to having it be a true story, like a true to the actual novel, that the source material, and they're going to try and make it this blockbuster, which is what he wants. Now, I'm sure that because he's the story writer, that he's probably not going to want to sacrifice anything. But over time, while you're making a movie, I'm sure that things also change. And it doesn't say how much he's being paid as well to give them the story, to make it, to give them the rights to make this movie. So, I mean, the actual movie could become the property of the company, of Gazprom Media, and then that vision that he has could be stifled. And that's another thing that I'm very concerned about. When you have something that's great, that sounds awesome, and this definitely sounds awesome, and then this big company takes over, what happens? They change a lot of stuff, they have to rework a lot of things, and we don't get a story that we want. We get something that we're all disappointed with. So I'm very, very, very hopeful that Metro 33 will be 2033, sorry, will be something that's great, right? I have a serious hope for this project, but mostly because as we read on, right, it actually sounds awesome. The main concern is that they're going to try to make it a blockbuster, and I don't want them to try to make it one. I would love for this movie to actually become a blockbuster because it's a blockbuster, because the film is awesome, the actors are great, the story is engrossing, not because they're trying to make it a blockbuster film. That's one of the biggest concerns when you try and do something. You go too over the top, you alienate your fans, you alienate new audiences, and no one likes it. The only people that really enjoy it are the ones who are just watching a movie for explosions because they need to pass the time. So that's one of the things that I would be very, very concerned with. And like, you can tell as well, by the way, that this story that the Glukhovsky wrote was pretty damn engrossing, considering it went across 3 books and became a video game. So they had enough to make it that, and from what I can see, it's selling pretty well, or it's sold pretty well. So I mean, let's continue with the article, and then I'll give you like a final takeaway kind of from what I see from this. Now, it goes on to say, in Metro 2033, Russian society collapses following a nuclear war that begins in 2013, but it rebuilds itself anew as a series of warring factions that have all carved out space for themselves in the subway system. In addition to the interfaction conflicts that pop up more often than not, the surviving humans must deal with the constant threat of vicious, mutated animals lurking in the subways where they hunt for prey. And currently filming for the project is slated to begin next year with a theatrical release on the 1st of January 2022. I would assume it'll probably be a little bit later than that, but we'll see how that goes. Like I said already, though, that story sounds really, really good. It sounds awesome. I'm a very big fan, if you aren't aware already, of the post-apocalyptic world kind of idea in the movies and TV shows and those kinds of places. I think that anything that basically talks about how society might have to one day rebuild in the event of an apocalyptic event, it just sounds, it's one of those things that I find to be incredibly engrossing, and I love these things. This is why I watch The Walking Dead, things like that. And this sounds like a really damn good idea. So I'm a fan of reading the book after the movie comes out, just because I don't want, I want to go in fresh. So once this movie comes out, if it's good, I'm going to see it. And if it's good, I'm definitely going to read the book. So that could be a review coming up as well in 2 years' time. So let's prepare for that one, shall we? Anyways, but I have hope for this film. It sounds like it's got potential depending on who they cast, and that's another thing too. A cast can make or break a film, so I'm really keen to see what they do with this, who they cast, who the scriptwriters are, who does all of this stuff and just to see what they can do with this movie, because obviously if it's been made into a video game, I think it's got potential to be a great movie. But then again, probably people thought the same thing about Doom and Mortal Kombat, and we see where we got there. So, Glukowski definitely sounds like he's trying to respect his original vision in this one, and that's great for the fans. If you're a fan of Metro 2033, then this movie sounds like it could be something that you want to watch. So yeah, look, I'm glad that he's gonna be at the forefront of this, and I'm just the biggest concern again that I have is just that the attempt to make it a blockbuster, and that's not something that you should be trying to do. Okay, I get that we want a film to be big and just crazy, but sometimes it just doesn't need to do that. Anyways, that's all I'm gonna say about this. I feel like I'm dragging this out for you guys now. The one thing I will say though is that a film does not suck until it sucks, which basically means until I personally see it and I know whether or not I personally enjoyed it, then I'm not going to say that it's going to be bad or it's going to be good. But this definitely doesn't sound like it's going to be a bad film. So if you are hanging out for something that sounds really good, this is the movie for you. I'm just hoping that the writer truly does honor, the source material that he's created, and they get to make a great movie based around that. Anyways, guys, that's me for this video. If you haven't already, please click that like button, click the subscribe button. Make sure to check out some other content on the channel. Otherwise, spread some peace, spread some love, and definitely spread some positivity in your world today, wherever you are. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.